Good morning, Captain.
Morning, Captain.
Good morning, Captain.
Good morning.
Won't you come on out and play? Wake up the sunshine and share this rainy day. Good morning, Captain. It's a smiling song we sing, 'cause we're happy to see every good times that you bring. Hey, good morning. Hello, how do you do? Wake up the sunshine. Share this day with you.
Oh, an oldie but a goodie. Good morning, everybody. It is time for the Thursday morning edition of Hey Scotty Mac Live here this September the 7th, 2017 show. Thank you for being with us this morning. I am Scott McKinney. We're getting set for another great weekend of college football, and of course, there's so much to get to today as we start previewing the games for the weekend and talking about also the effect of Hurricane Irma. It is already having an effect on games, and we'll get you caught up on all of that here in just a few minutes. But we're glad you're with us here this morning. Thank you for being a part of our Facebook Live broadcast. And then don't forget, after the show is over, we post the live audio, the recorded audio, I guess I should say. We post the audio only on our podcast page, which is heyscottymac.podbean.com. And hopefully by the end of the day today, you'll be able to go to heyscottymac.com. We're moving the domain name over. And so we're excited about that. But hit the like button on the Facebook. Hit the share button on the Facebook. We would greatly appreciate that. It helps us grow our audience, and that is so important to what we do. And it helps us increase our traffic and, of course, keeps us going on what we're going. So I want to thank all of our great sponsors who help us bring you the show, the Facebook Live show, the podcast, and more. Second Amendment Shooting and Sport in Niceville, located on John Sims Parkway, right there across from the Sears and the Pep Boys in Niceville, Florida. Great place to go if you're looking for hard-to-find ammunition, if you're looking for shotguns, rifles, certain types of handguns. They have it all available there, and they have everything in-house, including their own in-house attorney, so that way they can process your paperwork quickly and efficiently and get it done much quicker than pretty much everybody else. So that is a good thing. Also, I want to thank our friends at Bayou Bill's. Bayou Bill's Crab House. I just popped my finger there. Bayou Bill's Crab House, located at Inlet Beach and Santa Rosa Beach. Inlet Beach out in front of the Winn-Dixie there in Bay County, right there as you're coming into the western side of Front Beach Road. The Bayou Bill's is located there, and their other location is located in Santa Rosa Beach on Highway 98. That's where the locals go get their seafood and more at Bayou Bill's. Also, want to thank our friends at 98 Barbecue for bringing our show and also for sponsoring our weekly college football game of the week. And we'll be announcing that in just a few minutes. You'll be able to win a $20 gift card to 98 Barbecue. And Will out of Mobile, Alabama was last week's winner, and we just sent him a $20 gift card to 98 Barbecue on Highway 98 in Santa Rosa Beach. Also, I want to thank our friends at Acme Oyster House. They host our Saturday morning college football kickoff show. They've got 2 locations at the moment here in the Panhandle of Florida. The Baytown Village location in Sandestin is going to be closing at the end of September as they've opened up their brand new store located in Miramar Beach right there in front of Seascape Golf Course. Go check them out there at Acme Oyster House at Baytown Village, and, of course, at the new one at the Seascape Golf Course. So thanks to all of our great sponsors and, of course, our presenting sponsors at my-pak.com. Those amazing backpacks that we've been showing you and telling you about. People are buying those things up. Even though school has started, it's not too late. Plus, there's an initiative going right now that you can go online and buy those backpacks and have them sent to places like Houston, Texas, and other places now that are dealing with hurricanes from this year. It's just devastating what's going on with the hurricanes, first to Harvey and now Irma. and who knows what happens after that. But go online to my-pak.com. That's my-pak.com and check out those amazing backpacks. Well, we got a lot to get to today, and we're going to start by talking about how Hurricane Irma has already affected a lot of games this weekend. I know even yesterday morning, on the Wednesday morning show, we were already getting word of games that were being moved and canceled and things of that nature. And we'll run down that list for you right now of what's been changed and what's been going on. The University of Miami, the Hurricanes were scheduled to go this week. They were scheduled to, let me fix this here. They were scheduled to go to Arkansas State in Jonesboro, Arkansas. That game has been canceled. No plans to make it up as the teams do not share an open date. It won't be made up this year. They will negotiate it, and I'm sure they'll try to get something in the future. And Miami, the University of Miami's canceled classes for the rest of the week, and Mark Richt has released his players to seek safety from the storm. All of his players that are especially from South Florida have been told, go be with your families. Once it's safe again, we'll report back. And we'll see. And of course, next week, Miami plays at Florida State. So how will that affect Miami basically giving them all of this time off? So we'll have to see kind of how that works out. Florida International, their game against Alcorn State has been moved to Birmingham, Alabama. That game will be played tomorrow night, Friday night at 7 o'clock in Birmingham up there at Legion Field. Florida State, the Seminoles will be playing Louisiana Monroe at Doak Campbell Stadium Saturday for their home opener. That game was scheduled to kick off at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. It's been moved now until 12:15 Eastern, 11:15 a.m. Central. And right now, the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Service, NOAA, showing Tallahassee not really being affected by the storm, but they're being a little proactive there. University of Central Florida, this is the one we told you about yesterday. It was done early. The Knights of Central Florida will still play Memphis this weekend in Orlando, but the game's been moved from Saturday to Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, so they'll play Friday night. This one is a little bit intriguing. The University of Florida announced that they're moving up their scheduled kickoff against Northern Colorado from 7:30 p.m. in the Swamp Eastern Time to noon Eastern Time. Again, that game is going to be in Gainesville on Saturday. I'm a little bit surprised. I thought with Gainesville being right there on the cusp that they might go ahead and just try to play that game Friday night or perhaps reschedule or whatever, but they're going to do everything they can to play that game, and it's like it's scheduled to play at noon Eastern Time on Saturday morning. It's 11 a.m. Central Time against Northern Colorado. The University of Florida football team did release its hotel rooms. What happens is the University of Florida football team, like most schools, stay on or off campus. They gather up all the team and they stay in a hotel in the Gainesville area the night before a game. That's pretty common for all college teams. And they went ahead and released those rooms so the refugees could have those hotel rooms. So that was a good move on Jim McElwain's part, Scott Strickland, the AD at Florida. But they are coming under some criticism for playing this game Saturday with Hurricane Irma bearing down. Now, according to what I've seen, and I want to pull this up here, and just, again, these forecasts change on a daily basis, almost 3 times a day. It's just amazing how quickly and often they do change. But according to the latest models that are out there from NOAA and the folks in the know, the National Hurricane Center and what have you, the latest models are showing that the storm is not even going to, on Saturday, it's still going to be down around the Bahamas. So they should be good in Gainesville. But they are feeling a little bit of criticism from some folks saying that they shouldn't play the game at all. But I was thinking about it. I don't have a problem with it. I think playing the game in Gainesville is good. Playing it at noon Eastern Time is going to be fine. The game's over by 3. Everybody's out of there by 4. They're not expected to start feeling the effects of the storm until late Sunday night in Gainesville. So that still gives everybody plenty of time and moving forward. So nonetheless, that's kind of where that situation is with that game as far as the Gator game. So if you're planning on going to any of these games, make your plans accordingly. So University of South Florida in Connecticut will play this weekend, but the game's been moved up. Instead of kicking off at noon, the game will kick off at 10:30 a.m. on Saturday morning, so South Florida can fly back and get back home. Tampa's kind of, on that cusp of where does this storm go. So, but they're going to go ahead and play this game up at UConn, and they'll play earlier on Saturday morning. Florida Atlantic, Lane Kiffin's team, the FAU Owls, will still travel to Wisconsin. They'll leave Boca Raton. I believe they're going to be leaving later today, and they will be played. That game will be played at Wisconsin Saturday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, just like it was scheduled. Obviously, no problems with the storm in Wisconsin. The word is Florida Atlantic may stay up in the Wisconsin area for a couple of days until they can figure out it's safe to return to Boca Raton. So that is the plan. Those are the games as we have it as of now that have been affected by Hurricane Irma already. We'll keep a close eye on any others that possibly could be affected. But it appears now, like I said, according to the tracking maps, that around 2 a.m. Monday, this storm is going to be off the coast of near Orlando and Cape Canaveral. Expected to kind of make another landfall in the South Carolina, Georgia, perhaps even North Carolina areas around 2 a.m. Tuesday morning. So a lot of folks up that way, Columbia, Athens, those places are going to feel the effect of the storm. It looks like Tuesday and Wednesday, a lot of rain up there and who knows what else. But that is the latest as far as what it's affecting for college football this weekend. We've got other news and notes items to get to this morning as we talk a little college football on this Thursday, getting ready for the start of week number 2, which will be here in just in a matter of hours. There's only one game tonight, but there is going to be 2 games tomorrow. Well, now there'll be a handful more games tomorrow. And then, of course, on Saturday, a full slate of games. Houston, University of Houston and Texas San Antonio were scheduled to play last week. Obviously, they couldn't play because of Hurricane Harvey. They've now agreed to cancel that game that was postponed. They will not make it up. And so that game is done at this point. So that is one thing to keep in mind. We told you yesterday about Oregon having to move their practices down along the coast because the air quality up around Eugene was so bad from all the forest fires. But it looks like now the air should be fine according to the weather folks up there when Nebraska shows up on Saturday. Boy, we got all kind of weather issues this week, don't we? Unbelievable. And there's just so many weather issues that everybody's dealing with. It's whether it's hurricanes or forest fires or things of that nature. It is unreal. So it is what it is. Also, a couple other quick things here. We told you about the AP poll that came out. The coaches poll came out, and let's quickly go over that. The college football coaches poll. Alabama still getting at the top spot there. 59 first place votes. They got all but 5 of the first place votes. Ohio State is second in the poll. They got 2 first place votes. Clemson's number 3 in the poll. They got 3 first place votes. The rest of your top 10 is Penn State at 4, Southern Cal at 5, Oklahoma at 6, Washington at 7, Michigan at 8, Florida State at 9, and Oklahoma State at 10. Other schools of interest, LSU checks in at number 12, Auburn at 13, Georgia at 15, Miami at 17, South Florida at 20, Tennessee at 21, Florida at 24, Notre Dame at 25. So there you go. That is the coaches poll that has come out yesterday afternoon. So the coaches poll out very closely mirroring what's going on with the AP poll. All right, we're going to come back. It's time for us to start previewing some games, get ready for a big weekend. So we'll do that when we come back. It's a happy Thursday. Hit the like button, hit the share button for us as we grow our broadcast. We're coming right back here on Hey Scotty Mac Live. And welcome back, everybody, here on this Thursday. The Scotty Mac Live Show continues. Florida State fight song there in the background. Hey, don't forget that our college football newsletter, the Extra Point. Let me grab this right here. If you're watching on Facebook, you'll be able to see at least a little bit of last week's issue there. It came out last night, and we hope that you subscribe and get that. If you are a subscriber and you didn't get yours last night or this morning when you checked your email, just email me at heyscottymac@gmail.com. Everybody should have theirs by now. And if you'd like to be a subscriber, well, simply just email us at heyscottymac@gmail.com. That's heyscottymac@gmail.com, and we will get you the information about being a subscriber. It's got all kind of good stuff in it. It really does. This is the 18th year? Yeah. This is the 18th year that we have done this, or I have done the college football newsletter. We do it because we love it. It's been a kind of a labor of love for us, and it really helps us. And, you know, when it comes to Saturday in college football, you know, you've got the Extra Point. It's got the TV games listed and what channel they're on and what time. It's got all the Vegas information so that you're watching a game, you can know all about it. It's got all the schedules of the other games. It's got our picks. We had a great week. As a matter of fact, I wanted to pull up on my computer. You won't be able to see it, but last week, let me just tell you that our picks, my picks, I keep saying our, but it's me. My picks were 44-6. That is 88%. Now that's straight up. That's not against the spread, even though our spread picks are against the spread are amazing too. I'll tell you about that in just a second. But last week we went 44-6, 88%, which was pretty amazing. And of our 50 games, we picked 9 games exactly right. Now that's where this is on the newsletter, where we actually, and this is, I guess, from week 1. It's kind of hard to see, but right here we picked the scores of the games, the actual scores. And it's on the newsletter. Like this week, there's a long list of the games that we picked the scores on. So what we do is we put the scores down and then check them and see how we did. And we went 44-6. We're now 48-7 after that opening weekend, going 4-1 the first week. So that is a great start for us. And if you haven't checked it out, it is part of the Extra Point newsletter. Now, against the spread, I told you that opening weekend of college football, we went 3-0 against the spread. Very well documented. You can check it out on the Facebook page. Last week, we went 2-0 on Friday night and 8-1 on Saturday. That means our Scott's Locks, that's what we call them, the Scott's Locks of the weekend, are now 13-1 against the spread. Now, that is phenomenal. When you know we're not going to keep that up. Let's just be honest. All these hypers and these wannabes and people who want to be, whether they're on a radio show or whatever, they'll tell you, oh, I'm 94% for the year, all year. No, you're not. You're a liar. You're a huge liar. You know, roll back to Birmingham. 13-1 against the spread, we know that it evens out. For example, last year, the guy who won the Vegas handicapping contest out there, where they take these guys put up like $2,500 each, all the handicappers, and there's like several hundred of them, and the winner gets the full prize. Well, the top handicappers in Vegas last year hit at about 68.5%. You're doing pretty good if you can get 68. Well, last year we did 62.1%, so we were pretty proud of that. It's in the black. You made money if that's your thing, and we're off to a great start. Now, this week we're doing a special, and we may continue this, but we're off to a hot start. If you want to get our Scott's Locks, we got it running a special. You get all the picks. Now, there won't be any picks tonight. There's only one game tonight. We're really not a huge fan of it. We're going to look and see what there is tomorrow, but then we'll have 8 to 10 games or so on Saturday. But if you are interested in getting our picks, it is only $25 for the weekend, not per pick. That's all the picks. Normally, those are $79.95 for the weekend. But you can get all the picks this weekend for only $25. Now, for details on how to do that, just email me at heyscottymac@gmail.com. HeyScottyMac@gmail.com or send me a Facebook message here. And the way we do it is we have 9 handicappers in Vegas. We take all of their picks that we are all partner up with, and then we make our picks, and then we give you the whole shooting match and show you which ones are the best plays percentage-wise and on down the line. And it's been working amazingly well. Like I said, 13-1 for the season against the spread, 8-1 last Saturday. So, and if, again, we're running a special. You get all the picks all weekend for only $25. You can just simply email me at heyscottymac@gmail.com, and I'll get you that information. Coming up tomorrow night, we got a handful of games, obviously, that have been changed by the hurricane's path and the storm and all of that. And we went over those in just a minute, or just a little bit ago. And let's talk about some of our news and notes items here of things that are happening outside of that. A lot of talk has been about this Florida Gator offense. And we did a little research yesterday and looking at some things that other people are writing as well. But a little interesting tidbit, I found out that the Florida Gator coaching staff, they've signed 12 top 300 offensive recruits in the last 2 years. Now you say, well, that doesn't sound very impressive. But keep in mind, that's one more than Clemson has signed and one less than both Florida State and LSU has signed, and two more than what Alabama has signed. So Florida State has signed 12 of the top 300 offensive recruits the last 2 years, and for whatever reason, they're still trying to Florida, and they're still trying to figure it out. The offensive performance by the Gators last weekend was atrocious. I think the reason that Florida is doing everything they can to play this game Saturday against Northern Colorado before Irma rolls through is that they feel terrible right now. Their offense is it's just horrible. And they want to get that bad taste out of their mouth. I think you're going to see Florida try to put up a huge number offensively against Northern Colorado coming up on Saturday, because they want to be able to start prepping for obviously what lies ahead. The Tennessee game is coming up. There's some other key games coming up. And so I think you're going to see Florida try to put up a big number. I think you're going to see Felipe Franks. They're going to try to get him more comfortable. I think you're going to see Luke Del Rio. And I really am shocked. I said this all week, but I'm really shocked that Florida did not go with Luke Del Rio in that game against Michigan after Felipe Franks was struggled, because here's a guy in Luke Del Rio who's been there before. He's been your starter. He understands how to run the offense. He's not going to panic. You could see a little bit of panic in Felipe Franks' eyes the other day. I do think you will see a different-looking Gator team. Now, keep in mind, number one, you got to give credit to Michigan. Michigan is a really good football team. Really good football team. As a matter of fact, they're in the mix for the national championship picture. And Florida is not. So that's a huge difference, and a difference in gulf in between those two teams. Florida has talent, and they were playing without their best wide receiver, Antonio Callaway. They were playing without their best running back, Jordan Scarlett, and that would have been a little bit of a difference. I don't know if it would have been enough of a difference to beat Michigan, but it is what it is. But I think Florida is going to try to get something going and have Luke Del Rio play a lot this week. So I've got Florida to win the game, and the scores are in our newsletter, by the way. If you want to see all of our score picks, just subscribe to the Extra Point by emailing me at heyscottymac@gmail.com. Let's announce our big game of the week, our 98 Barbecue Game of the Week. You can win a $20 gift card to 98 Barbecue. Even if you're watching and listening to us outside the Florida Panhandle, go ahead and get in this contest. This gift card will not run out. When you come down to the beach, you can use it. Our game of the week, no big surprise here. Ohio State, number 2 in the country, against Oklahoma. These two top 6 schools are going head-to-head this week in Columbus. It's going to be a great matchup. I'll go ahead and give you my score prediction. I've got Ohio State winning 33-31, and I may be giving Oklahoma too many points there, but I think Ohio State is a fantastic football team. I think Urban Meyer will out-coach Lincoln Riley in this ball game. I've got Ohio State winning this one 33-31. I'll give you that score since it's our game of the week. Now, all you have to do to enter our contest, we're going to make it even easier this week. Last week, we said only by text. We're going to do it 2 ways. By the way, we wound up having 1,797 entries. We just missed getting to 1,800 by 3 people. I was like, oh, come on, 3 more people. But 1,797 different people entered our score contest last week, and we greatly appreciate that. And you can either enter by text. You can text us your score prediction right here on our text line at 850-460-0326. That's 850-460-0326. Or you can just simply, if you're watching on Facebook, either live or a recorded version of the show, just type in your score. If you'll just type in your score, whoever you have winning, let's say you like Ohio State like I do, 33-31, you would type in Ohio State 33-31. So if you're watching live or even on the recorded version of the Facebook show, just post your score right here on the page, and that will put you in the contest. Or if you're listening to our podcast, our audio-only podcast, you can text me. You can text me your score prediction at 850-460-0326. 850-460-0326, and I'll make sure to get you in the contest right there. A couple other games let's talk about coming up this weekend. The LSU Fighting Tigers. I know my buddy LSU Melinda and LSU Rob in Pensacola, Florida always watch us. Good morning, guys. They will be all excited about the big game this weekend. Chattanooga is not a terrible team. They've been in the 1AA playoffs the last, I think, 3 years in a row. They've been a top 10 team. They're going to score some points, but I don't know how many, simply because this LSU defense is so good. I mean, they didn't allow BYU to cross midfield last week. They were just absolutely stifling. And so I think LSU will win this game. I've got LSU winning in this one pretty handily. And again, you can get the score in our newsletter, The Extra Point. The Georgia Bulldogs travel up to South Bend, Indiana, to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It's such a mecca of college football. And I'm really excited about this game because my nephew, Jordan McKinney, number 37 for the Georgia Bulldogs, will be making the trip. He's a defensive back and also the backup safety, I guess you would call him. And he's the backup long snapper for the Georgia Bulldogs. And he'll be making his first trip to Notre Dame. So I'll be super excited about that. And I want you all to watch for number 37 for the Georgia Bulldogs. That's his number 37. So you guys be on the lookout for my nephew out there. Everybody is picking Notre Dame to win this game. I don't think they do. I think Georgia goes up there with Jake Fromm as quarterback, and they win this game because of 2 reasons. First reason, Sony Michel. Second reason, Nick Chubb. I don't think Notre Dame is going to be able to stop Georgia at its own game. Now think about this. Typically in the past, Notre Dame has had great running backs, a super running game. I mean, that is the grounded tradition of Notre Dame Fighting Irish football. And I think Georgia is going to go up there and beat Notre Dame at their own game. You can kind of see it coming. Now, everybody's shying away from Georgia because Jacob Eason is hurt, obviously. It's not as serious as they thought. It's a sprained knee, but he will not play in this game. And that's a real shame for a lot of reasons, and one of those being that his grandfather actually played at Notre Dame. But this is an opportunity now for another very talented young quarterback, the Jake Fromm kid, to come in and make a name for himself. And he looked really good, I thought, for Georgia last week after Eason went down for the injury. So I think he's not going to have to throw it a lot, but he's proven that, hey, I can stand in the pocket and throw it even though I'm a true freshman. Hey, turn and give the ball or pitch it to Sony Michel or Nick Chubb. And I think that's what Georgia does. I think Georgia beats Notre Dame up there Saturday night in that game on NBC TV. And again, you can get the score in this week's version of the Extra Point newsletter. Florida, as I mentioned, they're going to try to put up a big number on Northern Colorado. I've got Florida winning by 37 this weekend. You can get the score in our newsletter. Ole Miss is playing University of Tennessee at Martin, which is a 1AA school, and Ole Miss is going to put up a huge number on them this weekend. Another big game, Southern Cal and Stanford. Stanford has beaten Southern Cal in 8 of their last 10 games, but I think Southern Cal gets a little bit of revenge this week. I think it'll be a good ball game Saturday night But I've got Southern Cal winning that one. Auburn and Clemson. Of course, this game is kind of I guess you would call it a play-in or even a play-out game for the national championship picture, in that the winner of this game will keep their race and hopes alive for a national championship this year. The loser will essentially, I think, be eliminated from any consideration at this point. Clemson looked great last week. Kelly Bryant, who has taken over for Deshaun Watson, looked fantastic. He is just stepped right in, and they are not missing a beat at Clemson. Auburn's defense was unreal last week. I mean, shutting Georgia Southern down to less than 80 yards of total offense was, I mean, nobody saw that coming. That Auburn defense is big, fast, and physical. Jarrett Stidham is still trying to find the comfort zone on the Auburn offense. I'm going to go with Clemson to win this game at home. It's going to be a tight one. I would not be surprised to see Auburn win it, but I've got Clemson in a close one. You can get the score in this week's Extra Point College Football Newsletter. Alabama hosts Fresno State. Nick Saban, his team, still number one in the nation, coming off of the big win over Florida State. But here's a little interesting tidbit for you. In 10 years at Alabama, in game 2 of the season each year, Nick Saban has only covered the Vegas spread 3 times. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means I think typically they're playing a cupcake in week 2, and that means that most of the time in week 2, Nick Saban, you got to think, Alabama's pretty good about that opening game of playing a big-name team. And when you play a big-name team in a physical game like they did against Florida State last week, they're not going to be able to play a lot of people in a game like that. You know, Alabama didn't play a ton of people against Florida State, especially young guys. Now you're at home. It's a non-conference game. You can dress out 125 players. Alabama will put up a big number. They'll be up at halftime, probably something to the tune of about 35-0 at the half. And then they'll put in all their young guys. You're going to see guys like Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback out of Hawaii, is going to get a lot of time this week. A lot of those other freshmen are going to get a lot of time this week. They've got to figure out their linebacker rotation now that Alabama's missing 2 starters for the year due to injury, both inside linebacker and outside linebacker. You're going to see a ton of people get into the game for Alabama against Fresno State. Alabama wins this game, but I don't think they cover that huge spread this week because Nick Saban is notorious for not doing that. So I just don't see that coming whatsoever. A couple other games to mention to you before we take our break. South Carolina, Missouri, a big SEC matchup in Columbia. And, you know, Missouri's favored in this game, and I think they're getting a lot of love for putting up over 70 points against Missouri State last week. But this is also a Missouri defense that gave up over 40 points. I mean, they're not very good. Here comes South Carolina with Will Muschamp. And, folks, South Carolina is one of my dark horses this year in college football. I don't have them as a dark horse to get into the national championship picture, but they're a team that's going to be really good, and they're going to be a team you don't want to play. The defense is physical. They're nasty. They've got Will Muschamp's mentality. Then you take an offense that's getting better and better and better. And the offense last week, I thought, really started to kind of show some signs of putting up some numbers late in that game against NC State. The Bentley kid at quarterback as a sophomore is really kind of coming into his own. Wrong team favorite in this one, folks. Wrong team favorite. South Carolina wins straight up at Missouri in this one. Arkansas, TCU, that's going to be our first CBS game of the week, 2:30 Central Time on Saturday afternoon. And Arkansas is a slight favorite, 1-point favorite. This is going to be a great game, but I do have a slight edge to Arkansas playing at home. All right, we're going to take our final break of the morning. If you are just joining us or if you're watching later in the day, please hit the like button and hit the share button for us this morning. We would greatly appreciate that. That helps us grow our audience, and we certainly appreciate your willingness to help us do that. So please hit the like button and hit the share button. We would greatly appreciate it, and it helps us do what we do. Also, don't forget to like the page itself. If you would just like the page itself, that helps us as well. And then go check out our podcast page. Usually about 30 minutes after the show, we have the audio-only podcast version up. It is at heyscottymac.podbean.com. That's heyscottymac.podbean.com. All right, we'll take our final break. We're going to come on back here in just a few. talk a little more college football with you right here on the Hey Scotty Mac Live Show. All right, everybody, just check the connections, and we are solid and good to go. Hey, we again want to thank our great sponsors and, of course, our presenting sponsors at my-pak.com. These awesome backpacks. They're sturdy. They've got all the great pockets. I love the little, right here it is, the zip pocket. See there, you can put your kids' lunch money or important papers or keys in, whatever the case may be. It's just incredible. And, of course, everybody loves the front pocket here, where you can print out whatever you want to print out, slide it in there so that your kid has a different picture in their backpack every day, whether it's their favorite sports team or cartoon character. A lot of parents are printing out a piece of paper with their kid's name, their school bus number, their homeroom teacher on it, so that if they drop their backpack off somewhere, it can be found. So if you want to get that backpack, go to my-pak.com. That's my-pak.com. They've also got a great way for you to order a bunch of backpacks and have them shipped to Houston, Texas, or now to places in the Caribbean that are being affected by all these hurricanes. So check them out at my-pak.com. Also, thanks to our friends at Second Amendment Shooting and Sport in Niceville, right across the John Sims Parkway there from Sears and Pep Boys. Great place if you're looking for hunting rifles, shotguns, handguns, and more. Hard to find ammunition, and the biggest collection and selection of silencers here in the state of Florida. Silencers are legal for recreational shooting and for hunting in Florida. A lot of people don't realize that. So check them out at Second Amendment Shooting and Sport. Also, our friends at Bayou Bill's Crab House. You know, if you're like me, I get this hankering, as we say, for crabs, and their crabs are fantastic. Whether it's the snow crabs, the king crabs, the local Choctawhatchee Bay blue crabs, they've got them all there. Crabs, that's what they do. Yeah, they do fish and shrimp and even barbecue ribs and gumbo, but the crabs at Bayou Bill's are mouth-watering, delicious. Check them out at Bayou Bill's, Inlet Beach down in Bay County, right there in front of the Winn-Dixie in Inlet Beach, and then also in Santa Rosa Beach on Highway 98. And again, thanks to our friends at 98 Barbecue in Santa Rosa Beach. They sponsor and bring you our Game of the Week. This week's Game of the Week is Ohio State and Oklahoma. Don't forget to post your score prediction here for Ohio State and Oklahoma. You can win a $20 gift card to 98 Barbecue. And our friends at Acme Oyster House, Baytown Village, Sandestin, and their brand new location at Seascape Golf Course there in Miramar Beach, near the Sandestin area. Go by and try some of those nearly world-famous char-grilled oysters and great seafood and more, sandwiches, gumbo, New Orleans specialties. They have it all at Acme Oyster House. You know, college football week 2 is always a week where you find some folks that are letting their hair down a little bit. Now, there's some big games. We were just telling you about our Arkansas TCU game, and we like the Razorbacks to win that one. I know that makes our buddy Carla very happy. So, Woo Pig Suey, WPS to you, my friend. Also, that Ohio State-Oklahoma game is huge, no doubt about it. But there's some other games to keep an eye on. And one of the things I always like to do on Thursday is go over some of the games that you might want to circle. These are games that may not be at the top of the list as far as games that are going to get all the hype and all the promo and all that. But games to keep an eye on as fun games to watch and close games, possible upsets, things of that nature. And I've got a few circled. Keep an eye on that Duke Northwestern game. That is going to be a great game between two very prestigious academic schools, but that should be a high-scoring, fun game itself. Also, the Louisville-North Carolina game. You know, North Carolina very disappointed after losing at home last week to Cal. Louisville, man, you got Lamar Jackson, last year's Heisman Trophy winner. They are incredibly good on offense. That game is going to be a high-flying, circus-active game. A lot of points scored in that game. Keep an eye on that one. Here's a game that may not mean much to us in the South, but Iowa is traveling to Ames, Iowa, to take on Iowa State. Now, folks, this is a knockdown, drag-out. These schools don't get along. They play their rivalry game early in the year, which I kind of like. Iowa's a little bit better football team, but this game typically goes to the wire. That is going to be a fun game. And if you're just a college football enthusiast like I am, you definitely want to keep an eye on that one. I'm going to circle that one and watch that one for sure. Indiana is at Virginia. You know, Indiana had Ohio State on the ropes at least through halftime last week. And they're trying to figure out, again, they go to Virginia, who's also trying to get things going. That's going to be a very close ball game. It'll be a fun game to watch. It's going to kind of fly under the radar a little bit. I mentioned the Arkansas-TCU game. Arkansas a 1-point favorite. I think Arkansas wins that game, but that'll be a fun game to watch as well. Also, keep an eye on Mississippi State. They're traveling over to Ruston, Louisiana to play Louisiana Tech. One thing Dan Mullen has done, he's gone to Southern Miss. He's gone to Louisiana Tech. He's gone to Troy to play these games. I think he's going to South Alabama or has been to South Alabama. He doesn't mind traveling with his team to help these other schools out. They're going over to Louisiana Tech. That game could be close early, but I think Mississippi State walks away with it at the end. And then I mentioned the LSU Chattanooga game. That game could be close early. Chattanooga is not a bad football team, but I think Chattanooga blows away. And then what's one last game here? Let's see here. I had it circled, and where was it there? The SMU North Texas game. That should be a fun game as well. So check that out, SMU and North Texas. All right, everybody, man, we are run out of time. We got so much to do. We're going to try to check back in with you later today with another live update. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll have our live show tomorrow morning. We'll also try to get you a recruiting update tomorrow. We try to do a weekly recruiting update. And then, of course, Saturday, our college football kickoff show. Hey, don't forget that our college football newsletter, The Extra Point, is out. What did I do? There's one from last week. We email it to you each week. It is chock full of good information, the TV schedule, the Vegas lines, all those things are in there. Check it out. You can get it by simply emailing me at heyscottymac@gmail.com. That's heyscottymac@gmail.com. And make sure that you go in there and get yours ordered, and we'll get it sent out to you today. So, hope you guys have an awesome day today. Keep an eye on Hurricane Irma as it's continuing to take its toll on our friends down in the Caribbean. Our thoughts and prayers are with those people. And you've got Jose right behind it. There's all kind of things going on weather-wise, so just keep a weather eye out. Keep in mind there's going to be a lot more people on the highway here the next few days as they come out of South Florida to evacuate, so please be safe. If you missed any of the show, we'll post it right back on Facebook. And don't forget, here in about 30 minutes, you can get the audio-only version of the podcast. Here's how. Just go to heyscottymac.podbean.com. And even if you don't normally go there, would you do me a favor and go there today and just check out the page and type in your email address to be a follower of our podcast page? Would you do that for me? Go to heyscottymac.podbean.com, and we would greatly appreciate it. So you guys have an awesome Thursday. We'll be back later today to check in and see what's going on with a quick hitter update. We love you, and we'll be talking to you later on. Have a great one. Thanks for watching and listening to Hey Scotty Mac Live.